Greetings, viewers. Eric the Car Guy here, also known as ETCG1 when I'm on this channel, and
has the hat on.
And I have the hat on.
Can I wish him a happy birthday?
I was just going to ask if you wanted to do that,
I really
Charles.
want to.
Charles HumbleMechanic is going to.
Hey, if it's your birthday, a very, very happy birthday.
See, he knows this show.
I know the show.
Thank you for that, Charles.
You wished me a happy birthday on my birthday.
I did.
You did.
And I will do it again.
Next year.
Next year. Yeah. Every single time.
Okay, awesome.
All right. So the reason I'm with Charles today is because what vehicle are we in, Charles?
We are in a Volkswagen Touareg of the 2016 vintage, perhaps 15. I feel like I should know that, but
either way,
it's unrelevant.
It's a Volkswagen Touareg. The thing that is relevant, though, is...
It is a TDI Volkswagen Touareg.
It is a diesel, for those of you not familiar with what TDI stands for.
Turbo
diesel.
direct injection.
Turbo direct injection.
Or diesel injection, if you prefer.
If you aren't familiar with Charles and his channel, he happens to be a Volkswagen expert. He is also a working Volkswagen technician. And in a sense, we're here actually in Charlotte, North Carolina, about to attend the NASCAR race. But with the two of us, we're talking at breakfast saying, hey, you know, we were having this long conversation about Dieselgate and the fallout and everything, and who knows better about that type of thing than a VW technician?
That is true. I am sort of on the ground floor, basement, ground zero.
In every way, according to our earlier conversation.
of sort of what's going on. So to recap sort of what had gone on about September of last year, the information came out that Volkswagen got caught cheating emissions. Misreporting emissions, I think, is really a more accurate way to say it. And there was basically they were running in dyno mode, which doesn't monitor emissions the same way that it would when the vehicle's on the street. They do different kind of testings on a dynamometer versus street. So they got caught, whole big thing. Everybody freaked out, and for the last year they've been working on a couple of things. One, restitution for their customers. And two, probably the more challenging thing is how to fix these cars, right? 3 generations of diesels. At this point, the Touaregs are actually not included in any of the talks yet.
Is that because they're SUV and not?
I think because it's such a low percentage that they're trying to get the bulk of the 500,000 cars, mostly Golf, Beetle, Jetta, Passat. Actually, I guess all Golf, Beetle, Jetta, Passat. They're trying to get that handled, I assume. Now, officially, none of this is official information from Volkswagen. This is what I have heard. This is what I have read out there in the world, and this is what I've experienced. This is not any kind of insider information.
Charles is not representing Volkswagen in any way, shape, or form. This is an opinion-based thing that we are talking about
here. And I think that really needs to be
we need to get that.
Front.
And as far as if you want details on the initial scandal, I have a previous video that I'll link in the description, and also I'll find anything you might have on it as well.
Specific questions are best directed towards TDI, VWTDIsettlement.com or something like that.
We'll also link that.
That's where you want to go for like the official, most up-to-date.
If you're a VW diesel owner, we'll put links in the description to where you can, the appropriate channels, if you will. So
check all that. So the past year, they've been working really hard. You know, this is a very challenging thing because not only are they working on getting cars fixed, they're working with the federal government, they're working with CARB, they're working with the EPA, all the government agencies, which, as I'm sure you're aware of, when you introduce governmental oversight in, it slows productivity to almost zero. So they've done an incredible job really pushing to get this done. Expected approvals on this come October 18-ish, so that'll be sort of the kickoff day if it gets approved. If it doesn't, they go from there and try again.
So outside of that, what do you experience as a Volkswagen technician at the ground level with something like this? I mean, has this affected you as a technician? Has it hurt your paycheck as a VW tech? If
we were having this conversation 3 months ago, I would say, man, not at all. Our customers are awesome. Most of them want their car exactly the way it is. They don't want to be involved in it. They just want to keep their incredible fuel economy, their great horsepower, and rock and roll. Really, once they started releasing the numbers, the dollar figures that people were going to get as either restitution with a repair or as part of the buyback, basically, here's my keys, give me my check, best of luck to you, that almost turned the faucet off. Diesel customers have traditionally, over my entire career, always been our best customers. The customers that always do all the maintenance by the book. Not saying gas customers don't do that, a lot of them do, but the diesel customers as a percentage typically do more of the recommended maintenance than the gas cars.
And we talked about that also, that there aren't many independent shops that will work on the diesels as would be the gas-powered
exactly.
things, just because of not being familiar with the systems.
It's different. It can be scary to some.
Sure.
I mean, Volkswagens are scary to a lot of people.
Yeah, if you're in an independent shop and you're working on a Volkswagen diesel and you don't know what you're doing and you break something really expensive.
Yeah, it gets sad really fast.
Yeah, real fast.
Real fast. So once they started releasing the numbers, though, we started to see a pretty rapid decline in our business. And honestly, if I owned one, I don't blame people, right? Why would I want to spend $300 to do a transmission service when in 2 months I'm going to get a check for $5,000 or return my car?
And for those of you not familiar with technicians and how they get paid most time, they get paid on a flat rate system, which means they only get paid on the hours that they build. So in other words, if there's no work coming through the shop,
there's
such
no
as what you're talking about, there's no paycheck coming out the other side. So in other words, you could sit at the shop all day long, do like 5 oil changes, if you're lucky.
Make 2 hours and
make 2 hours, and you've been there for an 8-hour day. So it can be very disheartening. I think.
And it's a motivation crusher very, very fast.
Oh, absolutely.
You've experienced, and other technicians out there
any technician that's worked flat rate has had those days where they're going gangbusters and they don't even have time to put away their tools at the end of the day. And then there's the other times where you're sitting there.
Yeah, each wrench got polished 7 times.
Reading romance novels.
You do that too?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know why I would expect anything different.
Well, of course. I'm actually quite a romantic at heart.
I know that.
Yeah.
I think the audience knows that too.
I think they should.
I think they can see right through the screen into your soul.
I went to art school, so I'm weird anyway.
That's not the reason that makes you weird, though. Anyway.
I was weird before then.
Yes, I believe that. So
back to Volkswagen.
Yeah. Somehow we get off topic so often.
Yeah.
So, again, up until about 3 months ago, not an issue. Now it really has affected what's been going on because people aren't doing the maintenance. They're not doing the repairs that they were. And it's become pretty challenging at this point. Now, I work at an amazing dealership, and I'm not really on flat rate anymore. I'm the shop foreman, so I get paid off the shop as a whole.
Right.
But
there's still people working under you.
There are my techs, and I care about them.
Right.
Like I care about them because if they're not making money, I'm not making money. But even beyond that, I care about them and their family, and they're able, their ability to earn their living based on what we all do. And it sucks because they're not making the money that they were 4 months ago. My dealership, like I was saying, we've taken care of them and make sure that they're not starving at 20 hours a week.
Yeah, giving them the opportunity to do other work.
Clean the shop, put tools away, to get through this, what is hopefully a very short period of time with all of this. Because a fix is coming. We don't know what it is. We don't know the impact of the vehicle. But these vehicles are going to be fixed.
And there were some details that we were talking about earlier about that different judges are handling different engines.
Right.
So can you go into detail about that a little bit?
I can go into a little bit of detail
just a little
about
bit. Once again, this is not sanctioned from Volkswagen.
This is
just
off the reservation, so to say. So there's 3 different generations of Volkswagen TDIs that are affected by this. Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, obviously. Gen 1 is the majority of the cars. And there's one judge handling the settlement and approving the fix for that. Gen 2 cars are 12 to 14 Passat. There's another judge handling that, and then the 15s are all basically the same, regardless of the body wrapped around it. So there's a judge handling that. So it could easily go, one judge approves one, another judge approves another, and one of them gets shut down. They could all get approved, they could all get shut down. People are upset because they're in the dark about what's going to happen. We are too. We don't know any more information.
Yeah, nobody's going to know until
we get information first from the media outlets that
oddly
push it out there. And to be fair, sometimes they're spot on, and a lot of times they are way the hell off the mark on what they're saying. It's
unfortunate, rather
tragic, really, that there's no journalistic integrity on some channels' parts.
So, is Volkswagen selling any new TDIs at all?
As of right now, no. Once they are repaired, they will be.
So they've stopped production, or they've stopped importing the vehicles, or
I don't know the answer to that question. I assume, I guess, I'm not predicting that they do or don't, that there are 2016 model year cars sitting somewhere ready to get released out into the market.
Interesting.
15 cars are on dealerships lots.
Because really, it's actually October now, so they should be 17 models.
We have 17 model year cars on the lot right now.
Okay.
But I have not heard anything about model year 17 TDI.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So they've even come out and basically said they're phasing TDI out, which sucks.
Just in the U.S. market, or
I assume just in the U.S. market at this point, because boy, rest of world is diesel left and right, up and down.
And let's just put this in there. Charles picked me up at the airport yesterday in this vehicle. Thank you, Charles.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, it's quiet. It's
running right now.
Yeah, it's running right now. It has been the whole time. It's torquey. It's actually,
Yeah, this is a 3-liter turbo.
Yeah, so it's no joke. I mean, I've been in SUVs that have had gas engines of a comparable, if not larger, displacement.
Yep.
And this thing would run with them all day long. And you said it got like 28 miles to the gallon.
Well, keep talking, and I can tell you exactly what I got.
Okay, he's gonna push buttons on the steering wheel.
Of course, we've been chilling here idling for a little while.
But even so, he got really great gas mileage.
Yeah, I want to say it was in the 20.
I can't call it gas. Fuel mileage.
Fuel economy.
Sorry.
It was somewhere in the ballpark of 28. And
okay,
I will
so
be honest, I am not a light-footed driver.
Okay, he's not a light-footed driver, and I can attest to that. Although, this is on the internet.
Obeying all local speed laws, of course.
Of course.
And traffic laws.
And the thing being is that this is a big, heavy vehicle that performs well and gets excellent fuel economy. And that's my point here, is it's kind of tragic that here in the U.S., for whatever reason, we don't get the same treatment as the Europeans do, and I think a lot of that is because of these emission standards that we have here. I believe there's some diesels in Europe that get like 70 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, small displacement.
Small displacement, like a little 3-cylinder, turbocharged diesel that, it's not that powerful or anything like that, but it gets amazing fuel economy.
We have come to a point now where it's going to be interesting over the next 5 years of what happens with the country as a whole as far as emission standards. And honestly, I love diesels. I think they're great. I'm a fan. But even the small gas engines are coming dangerously close to the fuel economy. I drove a Passat from Baltimore to North Carolina with the cruise set at 85. It had adaptive cruise, so the speed averaged between 85 and 65. And I got 39.9 miles to the gallon until I got off the highway to get to my house.
That's fantastic.
And I live about 7 miles off the highway.
I guess, where do we go from here?
That's a great question. I think electric cars are going to be becoming faster and more ferocious, more furiouser.
Yeah. Faster and furiouser.
Than I think we had expected. Obviously, hybrids are not going away anytime soon.
Well, the thing that holds the diesels back is the emissions here in the States.
Right.
And in particular, NOx emissions. Is that what we're talking about? Sulfur?
So it used to be particulate, actual pieces, and then it became NOx. But even NOx, the NOx emissions of this generation TDI are light years lower than they ever were.
So they say.
Yeah. This whole thing was over like hundredths of a percent.
Right.
Very, very small numbers. Now, extrapolated over 500,000 cars, it becomes a bigger number, but one or two of the semis that are going to tow a set of cars somewhere for something is going to pollute more than all those cars will.
And that's the real question when it comes down to it. It's the consumption of resources, which diesel, we can make it. Yeah. So it's not like petrol.
And it's the least amount refined.
And it was also the first internal combustion engines were diesel also, weren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, it started out as a diesel before it became a gasoline ignition.
There's a lot that can happen in the diesel space that can't happen in the gas space, but I think this whole thing has really soured the average American mindset towards diesel, and are they going to be able to overcome that? I don't know that Volkswagen can do it, but I think someone can, and I really hope that they do.
And this is interesting because in the last video when I talked about Dieselgate, I had mentioned that the diesel market in the US kind of tanked in the 70s because of what General Motors tried to do. And some people got a little put off by the fact that I said that they pretty much took gasoline engine blocks and stuff and turned them into diesel engines, which is partly true. But for the most part, they didn't go through ground-up engineering on their diesel engines, and as a result,
a modified engine, not a diesel engine.
Precisely. So that might be a better way to say it. But at the end of the day, what happened is that soured a lot of people's experiences in the U.S. towards the diesel market.
Well, think about an old Mercedes diesel that you can hear from a mile and a half away.
Oh, those 300Ds?
Yes,
indestructible.
They were indestructible.
Everybody loves them.
But if you weren't a diesel person,
right,
you did not want that car.
Right, and you didn't get it.
No, but now as we sit in this is every bit as quiet as a 3.6 liter. Gets incredible fuel economy, way more power, and
very torquey.
Very torquey.
Yeah, if you told me, you would have to tell me that this was a diesel when I was riding it earlier. So they've really refined it to the point where it could be acceptable in the American market. But then this comes along and
as they say, perception is reality.
It is,
and
it is.
That can be a challenge.
So I think after this, you have to wonder if diesel will ever be a viable alternative here in the States.
I want to believe that. So I'm going to, based on how I want to feel about it. And since it's my opinion, I can do that. Looking at it, separating myself from the whole situation, which is incredibly challenging for me to do, I don't know. It doesn't look great in the passenger car market. Trucks are a whole different ballgame. That's not going away.
That's a different market entirely.
Even SUVs, I think there's a lot of justification.
Oh, especially with SUVs.
As we just talked about. But I think the passenger car market for a TDI is going to be incredibly challenging to penetrate, because Volkswagen was player number one.
They were.
And when player number one goes down, it either opens up a vacuum for someone else to step in and do amazing things, or just crushes the whole thing altogether.
And with that, I say we close this out.
Let's do it.
So, if you have automotive questions, I'm going to put a link in the description to ericthecarguy.com. I'm also going to put a link in the description to HumbleMechanic and the stuff that he does, especially if you want to learn more stuff about Volkswagens. He really knows what he's talking about, and then some. Aside from that, I can be found on Google+, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I close each of my videos with be safe, have fun, and
stay dirty.
See you next time.
Or Deerte.
Or Deerte?
Yeah.
Stay Deerte?
Stay, I don't know.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
You got to say it with a pinky in the air.
Oh, wait.
Stay Deerte. That's banana. You got your banana in my coffee.